Hello to all you lovely people out there. Today I'm sharing with you 3 mistakes new writers make when it concerns writing the first chapter. Let's go. Before we get to those 3 mistakes, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell for more content like this. I'm Octavia D. Mason, giving practical writing tips to beginner writers, book talks to book readers, and blogs to both. Let's get started. If you're a new writer, mistakes can happen, especially when it concerns writing that first chapter. But the key is not focusing on those possible mistakes. The key is knowing what those mistakes are before you can make them. So I want to give you 3 mistakes new writers make when it concerns writing the first chapter. The first mistake new writers can make when it concerns writing the first chapter is forgetting to describe the setting. When a reader comes into the novel, they want to know where all the action and all the good stuff is taking place. This not only helps them to imagine and picture the environment that the book is taking place in, but it helps them to know what time period they're in, what planet they're on, what year are they in, where in the world are they? And so you want to give them something they can imagine, something they can picture, and provide them with information as well. But the key is not being overly descriptive. You don't want to be too descriptive to where they're focusing on all the details, but you want to give them just the right amount of description so they know where they are and where the action is taking place. Here's a good example of a good description of a setting in the first chapter of a book, and it is As I Lie Dying by William Faulkner. The path runs straight as a plumb line, worn smooth by feet and baked brick hard by July, between the green rows of laid-by cotton to the cotton house in the center of the field, where it turns and circles the cotton house at 4 soft right angles and goes on across the field again, worn so by feet in fading procession. So this description is a little bit wordy, but that depends on who the author is, and William Faulkner is known for being a little bit wordy in his descriptions. But his description nonetheless is a good one because it tells us 2 things about the setting. Number 1, it tells us that it is the summertime and it is close to July, or it is in July. And number 2, it tells us that the time period is around the 1900s because he keeps referring to cotton houses and cotton fields and things like that. So this description, though it is a little bit more descriptive than some authors will use, it tells you the setting, it tells you what time period it is, and it tells you what atmosphere is going on. So it tells you that it's a little bit warmer. So it gives you a feel of like the sticky weather and hot sun and everything like that. So this is what you want to aim for when writing that first chapter when it concerns describing the setting. You want to give your readers a feel of what is happening and where it's taking place. And so William Faulkner does this really well by telling us that it's summertime and telling us that it's in the early 1900s. Ultimately, what matters most when writing that opening scene when it concerns the setting is being descriptive enough to where your readers can easily picture where the story is taking place. The second mistake a new writer can make when it concerns writing the first chapter is forgetting to set a tone. Now, the tone is how an author expresses his or her attitude through writing. This allows the reader to know how the story is going to flow throughout the rest of the book. There are several different types of tones: sad, comical, happy, serious, threatening, dangerous, mysterious. So there's all different kinds of tones for your book to have. And the best way to convey your book's tone is through your choice of words. And Dee Henderson, in her book The Negotiator, she does a good example of what it means to set a perfect tone that will be consistent throughout the entire book. Dynamite. Where had he put the dynamite? He shoved aside cobwebs striking his face, moving deeper on his belly into a crawl space that only rats should inhabit. This example tells the reader that the story has a tone that is going to be serious, threatening, dangerous, and hurried. And it does this by using the words shoving, striking, and dynamite. These words convey a serious tone and not a funny one. So it wouldn't be a tone that is comical, but it's going to be a tone that's serious, a little bit more threatening, and a little bit more suspenseful. So when setting the tone, you always want to make sure that your words combine with how the story is actually going to flow. You don't want comical and lighthearted words to match a serious and mysterious and suspenseful theme or flow of the book. You want your words to match your feel. The third mistake a new writer can make when it concerns writing the first chapter is switching between point of views. Now, this is really important because when you have a set point of view, it lets your readers know how the story will be told and who the story will be told through. There are various types of points of views. You have first person, third person limited, and omniscient, and different ways you can combine those three. But it's very important for you to stick with whichever point of view you choose, because I am telling you, there is nothing more irritating than switching from I and me to he and she, and to Johnny and Susan and Larry, because then you're wondering, okay, who is telling the story? How is the story being told? Is this author crazy? What is happening? So you want to make sure that you can stick with that point of view. Choose the one that is best for you and that's going to provide the most comfort for you. Now, the key to avoiding this mistake is being sure that when you pick that point of view, that point of view will fit you perfectly, that it will be comfortable for you as an author, and that it will fit the style of your book. So if you have trouble sticking with that third person limited, and you find yourself switching over to the first person, then it may be reason for you to stay with that first person instead of switching over to that third person. If you have more concerns or questions regarding the points of views, I do have an article that's linked below that's going to give you a little bit more detail on what points of views are, how to use them to your comfort level, and how to pick which one is best for you. And if you have trouble figuring out if you have been consistent in your book with your points of views, reread your book over and over and over again just to make sure that you don't have any first person intermingled with the third person or anything like that. You want to make sure that when you reread your work that you not only check for grammar and things like that, but you also check to make sure that you stay in that point of view. Because again, I'm telling you, it is very irritating as a reader to read a book and then you find that they're switching up between so many different point of views. It makes you want to stop reading the book, honestly. So be sure to reread your work and look for things like that. So those are the 3 mistakes a new writer can make when it concerns writing the first chapter. Odium question of the day: what are some other mistakes new writers can make when it concerns writing the first chapter? Let me know in the comment section below. Hey, lovely people, if you're interested in the examples I used in this video, William Faulkner's As I Lay Dying, Dee Henderson's The Negotiator, they are linked below in the description box. Be sure to check out my prequel to this video, The 3 Do's of Writing a Strong First Chapter. It'll give you more information on what you are supposed to do with writing a strong first chapter. If you want more content just like this, be sure to check out all my other videos on practical writing tips for beginner writers. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more content like this. I'm Octavia D. Mason with Tips for the Writers, Books for the Readers, and Blogs for both. Have a lovely day. Peace.